Hey everyone, welcome to the Shea Station YouTube channel here for an immediate reaction to two big pieces of Mets news. Darin, the trade piece from last year's deadline, supposed to be the right-handed DH to solve all the Mets problems in the power department, has been designated for assignment. He has not made the opening day roster. The Mets have cut bait on Darin, and it looks like Tim LeCastro, who had a great spring training, will make the Mets opening day rostered. Now, this is the third such time in the past year that the Mets have kind of swallowed their pride and cut dead weight from the team regardless of how much that player was supposed to make. We saw it first with Robinson Cano, the most extreme example because of his absolutely monstrous contract from the Seattle Mariners that we inherited in the Edwin Diaz trade. They cut him in early May, I believe, or late April, and sort of just went about the season without him. It was the right move at the time. This past offseason, the Mets actually found a trade suitor for James McCann, so that worked out pretty well. The Baltimore Orioles took him off our hands, but Ruff is a unique case because this wasn't a move that this regime, inherited, specifically Billy Epler. Billy Epler made this trade at the deadline, and even when it happened, it was pretty questionable. The most notable piece going to the other side was J.D. Davis. It also included Thomas Szapucki and then two pitching prospects in Carson Seymour and Nick Zwiak. Ruff, had a great 2021 for that Miracle Giants team where he had a 143 OPS plus as their right-handed DH. So there was, reason to assume that this plan could work out for the Mets. But halfway through last year with the Giants, his OPS was just 701. That was good for a 98 OPS plus. 11 home runs, which would have been nice for the power department. But it wasn't, it didn't seem like the resume that warranted trading four pieces to acquire. And he was, to put it frankly, very bad with the Mets in the second half last year. Hit just 152, did not hit a home run. His slugging was 197. Really put a damper on the Mets second half as Daniel Vogelbach kind of shined through that trade where we sent Colin Holderman to the Pirates. And, there's a lot of, concern for this trade because Darin was under contract through this year and into next. And this was sort of supposed to be a longer-term solution for the Mets. I think that's why they made the trade in the first place. I don't think they expected it to go this poorly, but it did. And I, for one, fully believe that Darin would have gotten at least the first month of the 2023 regular season. I think he would have made the roster, but instead he had a poor showing in spring, some problems with his wrist, and now he's out the door looking for another opportunity. And instead, Tim LeCastro makes the roster, which adds a much-needed speed element to the Mets bench, especially with bigger bases this year and new pickoff rules. Stolen bases are going to be a part of baseball once again. They've kind of been fading into the background in recent years, and Tim LeCastro, always a threat for that. He stole 6 bases in spring training, also hit .289 with a near 400 on base and a .907 OPS, 1 home run, 1 triple, and 5 doubles. He got plenty of run in spring training, kind of the guy that the Mets were looking at the most to fill out their bench alongside Danny Mendick. So he gets the nod. Ruff is out, and that's really the first piece of big news. The other piece that we have here is that David Peterson has made the starting rotation for the Mets. This was going to kind of be a sort of see when we need him kind of system going through the season with Jose Quintana part of the fold now, but then he gets injured. Kodai Senga, Carlos Carrasco, and then obviously Verlander and Scherzer, they fill out the rest of the rotation. It was going to be a competition between Peterson and McGill to see who was going to get that number 5 spot, and David Peterson just had an unbelievable spring. 12 innings pitched, 1 hit allowed, no earned runs allowed on the board. He did walk 8 guys, which has kind of always been the story for David Peterson. Lights out electric stuff, but he does have some control issues he'll need to work through. But in terms of a number 5 starter, David Peterson puts the Mets in a pretty solid position. The other side of that story was Tyler McGill, a guy that many of you know that I'm a huge fan of. He had an okay spring, 17 innings pitched and a 3.71 ERA, but was clearly outshined by David Peterson. I don't believe he'll be making the opening day roster as a bullpen piece. I think the Mets have expressed that they want him stretched out to starter length in case they need him later on. The Mets have plenty of starting pitching depth, and I think the top of that list was definitely David Peterson, so I think the right call was made there. We saw him bounce between the bullpen and the rotation last season, a 3.83 ERA in 28 games. 19 of those games were started, 105 and 2/3 innings. The Mets are going to lean on him for the first 3 months of the season. McGill will probably make an appearance as well as the Mets, figure in some 6-man rotation stuff, trying to alleviate the workload for older guys like Verlander and Scherzer. And then by the halfway point, hopefully Jose Quintana will be back and healthy and can be pitching for the Mets down the stretch in the second half. So it's a fine solution for the first half of the season for sure. It's just, with injuries piling up, how much deeper do you need to tap into that depth? We will see. You have guys like Elieser Hernandez, Joey Lucchesi, and Jose Budo back there as well. The Mets also just signed Dylan Bundy to a minor league deal, so you can fill out pretty much a whole minor league rotation with those guys right there. I think David Peterson fully earned a major league spot. I think would have been sad if he had to be a part of the bullpen in that capacity. It also is sad that Jose Quintana is on the injured list, no doubt there, but I'm happy that David Peterson is getting a much-deserved opportunity with the Mets this year. So he'll get the second game of the season. Max Scherzer will get the first game of the season, and then the Mets rotation will go from there. So a lot of exciting stuff as we wind down towards the full roster being announced, but it looks as though Tim LeCastro and David Peterson will be a part of it, and Darin Ruf is out the door. We'll see where he ends up. I'm sure he will find a home somewhere with a major league team, and I'm interested to see how he performs against the Mets, and I'm really curious to see if he can turn his career around after what it was just a completely disastrous trade. JD Davis, if you can hear me, I miss you. I'm sorry I doubted you. But guys, thank you for watching this immediate reaction. We'll be back with full episodes coming soon. Jerry's currently traveling with his family, so I wish him well, and I hope he's enjoying himself. Guys, if you enjoyed this instant reaction, leave a like, leave a comment letting me know what you think of these moves, and subscribe to the Shea Station channel. We have daily player profile and projection episodes coming out every day through opening day, so you don't want to miss those as well. And yeah, hope you have a great week. Let's go Mets.